got that timing belt on, and you start off down from the bottom there, and you put it on that the crank gear, stretch it on over to your water pump gear here, and that'll be free spinning, so you could kind of take out the slack, and then you get it up over the camshaft sprocket here, and then you want to try and get it fit over that tensioner there. So now that we went on, got this belt on here, I went and I wanted to double check what my torque was for this sprocket up top here, and I was kind of shocked. I was looking it up and it said 85 foot-pounds. I thought that was a little extreme. That was Googled it up, you know, on the phone. Double check here, we got a service manual, and we take a look, and camshaft sprocket bolt, 85 foot-pounds. So that's what we're going with on that. And when we're torquing that down, so I've got the torque wrench on here, and what I'm using is, I just got this long bar that I made, and it's got a couple pegs in it. So you'll just get your bar in there, and you'll just find a spot that it holds the sprocket, just to hold this static while you're applying that torque on the bolt there, and torque it up. That's what I'm using. I know that there's other tools out there, but this works for me. So next, we're gonna take a look at tensioning up this tensioner for the timing belt, and then we got to rotate it 2 turns and make sure that our marks line up at the top and at the bottom there. Here's the setup we got going on for that tensioner there. So we just got to ratchet from 3/8 to 1/4 reducer that fits in that little notch to adjust it. Now you're going to have to turn it counterclockwise to set that that gauge, and then I just got a ratchet wrench on the nut, and I believe that's should be a 13 millimeter there. So I'm just going to tighten it with the ratchet wrench once I get it into place. We've got the mirror down there. It's going to be hard to illustrate here, but there's that notch in there, and there's a spring, like a tang, like off of the thing. You got to line it up, and so we just got that mirror there helping us get that into place, so it lines up in that center hole. Here's the instruction page here. So this is where you're starting off, and then you want to move this that way to get it to line up that notch with this pin or spring tang. And so when you're done, you'll have it lined up in that right there, that center notch. That's what we're trying to get to. Here's that spring tang there, that wire, and that wire is lining up into that little notch. So I don't think you're going to get a torque wrench in there to torque that up, but if you could, it's saying 30 plus 3 Newton meters. So I just got to get it hand tight because I can't get anything in there to torque it up. But now we can rotate this thing a couple times and see if our tummy marks stay lined up. This is a good time to mention, if you have the old design, this is the hydraulic one. So this is like your hydraulic piston here, and then that pin on the end, that's going to push up against here and give you your tension. So when you're putting that belt on, you'll put your belt on, and this will be free floating. This will be pretty easy to get that belt on. And then you see these holes are slotted here. So what you would do is you take this piece, you put it in a vise, and you want to line up those holes, that hole, and right there, and that'll hold this in place when you install it. And you've also got these slots here, so you would basically install this, slide it up till it's you can get it as much tension on it by hand, and then you tighten these down, and then you can tighten this one down too, and then when you pull your pin out, that'll give the extra tension. And straight out of the book here, that's what it's saying. You got to put that in the vise, and they're using an Allen wrench there to line everything up. And then here it is here, installed. So you'd assemble that, and then you slide it up, tighten your bolts, pull the pin, and then that's going to give you your tension. Took this thing, we rotated it around a couple times, and the good news is, if you take a look down at the bottom, our mark lines up the bottom like it's supposed to. Hard to see, but it does line up in the bottom. So our two triangles are lining up there, so that's good. Up top we have our two line up here, but the problem is, if you take a look, the belt is like creeping off of here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen off that tensioner. I'm going to readjust it, and I'll spin it around again and see if we can't keep this so it's as it's going, it's centering. Well, it looks like it's going to be a trust issue here, because if you can see that tensioner is not parallel. It's if you can see that, kind of take a look at the belt, look at the edge of the tensioner there. The reason for that is those aren't tight up against the block, and those aren't going to get tight up against the block until we put this piece on, because those two bolts will fasten the top of that tensioner bracket. And so, as I said, it looks like all we can do is trust the system. And I've basically realigned that tang in there. I don't know if you can see that, but I've realigned the tang. I've tightened up that nut. Now we got to put the cover on, and then we'll have to put that back on, which supports the engine mount, and hope that everything works well. We're happy with the timing. The timing marks are lined up. We've turned that around a few times now, and our timing marks have lined up, so we'll just start throwing everything back together here. The top cover on this one here was damaged, had a hole blown through here where the water pump gear. So I just used like a JB Weld product, and what I did was I just took like some duct tape, and I put the duct tape on the inside, and then on the outside. So I put the duct tape on the outside, and I put the product on the first pass on the inside here, and then once that was dry, it was dry enough to actually put some more on the outside. So then I put that on the outside, and then I got in there with the die grinder, kind of smooth it out and get it concave so that it's not going to contact the water pump down there. So we'll put that back on, and then after that we've got the basically the motor mount bracket here.